How's it going, guys? Vaibhav here and welcome back to another video. Now, I wanted to make this video a couple of days ago, but I waited until this was all official, and it looks like the Samsung Galaxy Fold 2 is official, coming straight from Samsung's mouth. And I say that because Samsung recently published its first quarter 2020 results, where they talk about their operating profits, how much money they've made, as well as the struggles and challenges they faced with COVID-19 and the current situation. But more interestingly, if you scroll down to somewhere near the bottom of the actual press release, it does mention that the company will continue to offer differentiated products in the premium segment with the launch of new foldable and Note models, which basically confirms not only the Note lineup for this year, but also the new foldable lineup. Now, we don't know anything about the specifications from Samsung officially, but that's where these leaks come in. So I recently read up on this guy. He's basically the founder and CEO of Display Supply Chain Consultants called Ross Young. He's also the founder of Display Search, and he lives in Austin, Texas. Now, he deals a lot with displays, and he has been leaking a lot of things to do with the Galaxy Fold 2. And if we actually scroll down to the bottom of his Twitter profile, we'll be able to see what we can expect from the Fold 2. So the first leak comes for the main display. The size is a 7.59 inch panel, so it's up from 7.3 inches on the current Galaxy Fold, and has a resolution of 2213 by 1689 with a DPI of 372. So pretty standard stuff there, but the refresh rate at 120 Hz is the big thing. So with a foldable smartphone or tablet, whatever you want to call it, now having a 120 Hz refresh rate, that's a pretty big deal for 2020, when foldable smartphones in general were kind of a dream just last year, and to have 120 Hz displays on them is a big step up, and there's only one company that can do it, and that's Samsung. Now, the backplane technology here is LTPO, which basically signifies the fact that this will be an AMOLED panel, and it'll be sort of a dynamic AMOLED panel, the foldable one we've seen on the Fold and the Flip series. Now, the leaks continue with him saying that there will be a notch/hole/UPC on the display. So what Samsung wanted to do with the Fold 2 in general was wanted to go with an under panel camera, but it isn't ready yet. So the phone or the tablet will have a punch hole style display, which I'm not complaining too much because the notch on the side of the Fold was a bit too much, but with the hole punch, I think that would pretty much look fine. And yes, it's gonna have an S Pen that fits in with the Note series, so that is a big deal too, because the Fold is sort of, launching with the Note series. Having the S Pen makes sense. I don't know if it's gonna fit inside the Fold. That's something we'll have to wait and see, but definitely support for the S Pen is a cool little feature, improving the productivity. And I feel like Samsung has this future goal where the Fold will eventually replace the Note series and the Flip will eventually release the S series, because if Samsung wants to continue making foldables, I think that's a very logical step for them to take. He continues by saying that the ultra thin glass is back, so the one found on the Z Flip is coming to the Fold 2 as well, but he's pretty sure there's going to be some more hard coats that make it more scratch resistant, because if you remember when Jerry Rig Everything did a scratch test on the Z Flip, it turned out that it was easily scratchable, but it turns out that there's a very thin layer of plastic that's protecting the glass, and he's basically alluding to that. Now, in terms of the other display, so the external display on the Fold, that's also a huge change on the Fold 2. On the initial Fold, or the one we see now, it's a very, very small screen, but it looks like on the Fold 2, it's going to be a much bigger 6.23 inch screen with a 2267 by 819 resolution. A 60 Hz panel, I don't think you need a 120 Hz panel there, but the backplane technology on it is going to be LTPS. Now, I'm going to get to that in just a minute, but it's also going to have a hole punch just like the sort of inside screen. But the LTPS technology, now people were saying because it's LTPS and not LTPO, the external or the outside display of the Fold 2 is going to be an IPS LCD. However, in his future tweets, he debunks that. So some media have written that I said the Fold 2 displays LCD. That is not correct. Samsung could never do that. Of course it's OLED. I referred to the backplane tech as LTPS. It could be an oxide or even a silicon oxide, or I don't know what that means. I am not really good at chemistry. All OLEDs use LTPS except the Royale. LTPO is a new and better way, and it turns out if you actually Google search this, there is a way to have backplane technology of LTPS on an AMOLED panel. So I think what he's saying makes sense. Now, When he tweeted this, he said next week we'll cover the camera, the price, and the launch date, etc. Now, it's probably been next week, so we'll just scroll up and see what he has to say about the Fold 2 in general. So there we go. The camera on the Fold 2 will have a triple camera configuration with a 12, 16, and 64 megapixel lens with dual optical image stabilization. So I guess the Fold 2 will borrow somewhat the Galaxy S20 Plus's camera configuration, which I don't think anyone would be complaining about. I think the S20 Ultra was an underwhelming camera experience, but the S20 Plus was a great one. So I think it coming to the Fold 2 makes absolute sense with dual optical image stabilization. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Samsung's new features, including 8K video recording on the Fold 2 as well. And of course, it's a step up from the S10 Plus's camera suite we saw on the initial Fold. So that is the camera in a nutshell. Now he goes on to leak more about the prices and the launch date. So the price is going to be between $1,780 and $1,980. Since they are looking to boost volumes, we think it'll be priced around $100 less than last year at $1,880 to $1,895, despite the bigger and the better front display, high resolution camera, S Pen support, and 5G support. So I guess that makes sense as well, because foldable smartphones last year were more of a concept phone than anything, but now that they're sort of become mainstream, they're obviously going to decrease in costs. That's what happened with 4K TVs. That's what happened with 8K TVs. That's what happened with not really with flagship phones, but you get my point. They're gonna go down in price and they're gonna become more affordable. Now, if I was to actually change this to AED, and let me actually do that. So USD to AED. For you guys to get in live conversion. So $1,780 translates to around 6,538 dirhams. Now, if you remember last year, the price of the Fold 1 was around 7,399 dirhams. So if we were to change that to dollars, that equated to $2,014. And I think in the USA, it was a bit less. I think it was $1,999. I can't remember the exact price tag, but yes, it's going to be cheaper than the Fold 1 or the Fold that we have currently. Last but not least, he goes on to mention the launch date. We think it'll happen alongside the Galaxy Note series, which typically happens in August of every year. So August of 2020 is when we can expect to see the Galaxy Fold 2, and I think shipping will be in September. But yeah, I guess that covers pretty much everything that you'd need to know about the Fold 2. It's definitely looking like an interesting device. I've used the Fold 1. It was a great device. If it wasn't for the price, it would probably be my primary device, just for the sheer reason that you could have a smartphone as well as a tablet in your pocket. Now, I don't know how much they'll do to sort of change how thick it is when it's folded, how they're going to improve the durability, how they're going to improve the hinge mechanism, but I'm pretty sure they're going to borrow concepts from other flagship foldable devices like Huawei's, or even their Z Flip, which happen to have a better hinge system, and you know, the one where you could prop it up like a laptop. Maybe that could come to the Fold 2 as well. But things are looking interesting, and we'll get to find out more when this thing actually launches to the public sometime in September of this year, as long as there are no more delays and no more further restrictions with this current situation going on, which I don't think there should be, considering Samsung is very confident in their product portfolio. So that's about it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. This was Vaibhav, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.